Hi, I'm Courtney.
And I'm Beth.
Welcome to Dead Reckoning, the podcast where death isn't the end of the story.
And this time we are doing part 2 of our look at abortion in San Francisco. Historically speaking, although we will perhaps get into some modern day stuff at the very end.
Oh, do you think? Yeah.
Because this topic has not gone away.
Yeah, if you haven't listened to the last episode 1 of this topic, go back and listen to that first if you want some more context. But
yeah, everybody, if you're enjoying this podcast, please subscribe, please tell a friend, write a review for us. It really helps people find us. So
we are not sponsored by Big Pharma, and we
or big anything.
We can get big abortion. I wish I was fucking sponsored by Big Abortion.
Yes.
All right, Beth, tell us about abortion.
Oh my God. So I'm going to start again with a story of a young woman in San Francisco whose family planning did not go the way that she hoped. There was a woman named Adelaide. She went by Addie Hand. She was 21.
Oh, that's cute. Yeah.
Married to a man named Joseph. In the 1870 census, Addie was listed as a housekeeper. Joseph was working as a retail grocer. They had a daughter, May, who was 1.5 years old in 1870. In January of 1871, Addie was pregnant again, as she went to see an abortion doctor in San Francisco, Charles C. O'Donnell, who's going to be the first of the 3 doctors that we look at today. Addie's sister-in-law was named Victoria. The day after that Addie went to first see O'Donnell, she went to see Victoria, and Victoria said, we were together in her room. Suddenly she turned around, called me by name, and said, "Don't you tell anybody if I tell you something." And Victoria said, "No, I won't." And then she said, "What is it?" Addie said that she had been to see Dr. O'Donnell. Victoria asked her, "Why, what's the matter?" And then Addie said she was pregnant and she had been to him to have an abortion, that it had been done the day before, and that the doctor said if it didn't work, to come back in a few days and he would try again.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Victoria asked her why she was willing to risk her life to not become a mother again. And Addie said that she and her husband couldn't afford it. Victoria asked if her husband was aware of what she had done. Addie said no, and she would not tell him until it was all over.
Man, it just really highlights also how this burden is on these women.
Yeah.
She's trying to I think she's trying to protect her husband's feelings. You know what I mean? She's absolving him of some of the guilt of having to make this decision. And it's just heartbreaking, right?
Yeah. Well, and trying to protect their daughter, who's a couple of years old, very young.
Yeah.
And they're probably all struggling to eat and remain in housing. A few days later, Victoria visited Addie again, who had been back to see Dr. O'Donnell because she wasn't sure the abortion had worked. Victoria said that Addie looked well, but said, "I feel very sick. What will you do with me?" Victoria put her to bed and kept her warm. Their mother came in and said, "Addie, what is the matter with you?" Addie replied in a lie that she had done 2 weeks of washing and then came up to the house, which made her feel very tired. So she wasn't telling anybody except her sister-in-law. O'Donnell apparently told Addie that she was suffering from inflammation, the abortion had worked, and that it had nothing to do with why she was feeling sick.
Sure, buddy.
Yeah. He said that he had performed an abortion on another woman and that she, like a fool, had caught cold. He told Addie if she didn't take care of herself and keep her hands out of cold water, she would meet the same fate. She said that the washing she had done had given her a cold.
I mean, it had surely wrung her out, right?
Yeah.
She's getting an abortion, 2 abortions, who knows what's going on. And then she's doing like a full day's work, physical labor on top of that. I don't think that's recommended.
January of 1871, he's like, don't get your hands cold. I mean, come on.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't know, but also he had probably just put a bunch of dirty instruments in her and she probably was like septic, right?
Yes. You are reading the mind of what's happening here.
I hate it.
A friend of Addie's also shared her interactions with Addie, who asked Jenny to come over on the morning of February 4th. Addie said that Dr. O'Donnell had not come to see her, but that evening he did come by. Addie had begun vomiting. He gave her 10 drops of laudanum and came back the next day. She told him that she felt very bad and weak and would like something to make her feel better. He said she didn't need anything. She was getting along nicely. He asked her if she felt any soreness in her bowels, and she said she did a great deal. He told the family to apply, quote, hot fermentations, which I think is like hot packs with herbs, maybe.
Probably.
He came back and said that they would need to watch her very closely that night. He said there would be a change about 12 o'clock. Addie's friend Jenny said that she had been pregnant and gone to see O'Donnell twice. He performed surgery with instruments, quote unquote, and told her again not to let herself get cold or to pat her hands with cold water. So again, he's like, I did everything right.
Yeah, it's not the dirty, germ-covered instruments that I stuck inside you. It's definitely the cold water. Fuck.
Jenny asked why Addie didn't have another doctor, and he said that Dr. O'Donnell told her if she mentioned his name to another doctor and that she had an operation, it would disgrace her and her husband.
Yeah, I mean, he's also not wrong. He's also blackmailing her, right? Like, it's like,
yeah,
this is what happens when this stuff is underground. Yeah.
Another doctor, Dr. Ferris, did eventually come to visit her anyway. He testified that he and a third doctor, Dr. Chase, examined Addie. They concluded that she had a, quote, congestive chill. I didn't look up in modern parlance what that means, but I have to assume it's, cold, fever, inflammation.
Yeah, like just generally sick.
They prescribed some medicine to help her. Dr. O'Donnell was there, and they asked him what happened. But then they said that they wouldn't take his advice because we do not consider him to be a respectable physician. So this is like what we saw last time, where the quote unquote like regular doctors were criticizing and demeaning other doctors who performed abortions for women.
Yeah.
So Addie died at home on Clementina Street on February 7th, 1871. The initial cause of death was given as congestive chills, which is what the licensed doctors diagnosed her with. She was buried a few days later in the Oddfellows Cemetery on Lone Mountain, which we will probably do a podcast on at some point.
Yeah. Don't anybody let us go off on this one. Keep steady, focus, Beth.
I think somebody came forward with the information that she had an abortion, possibly died because of it, because even after she was buried, there was a coroner's investigation. Her body was exhumed for postmortem examination.
Oh, wow.
The coroner at the time, Jonathan Letterman, did find that an abortion had performed and her uterus had ruptured as a result.
Oh, God. That's awful.
Yeah. More specifically, Coroner Letterman brought in somebody that we know, Edwin Bentley, who was the army doctor responsible for
I got very excited.
Yeah.
Did he cut her leg off at the hip and throw it in a pile?
No, but he and the coroner did a full autopsy. And remember, Bentley was like working on advancing autopsy techniques.
He was practicing autopsies. Yeah, that's right. I mean, I guess we get a little chance for redemption here from Dr. Bentley.
Yes and no, because we'll get there. They opened up Addie's abdomen. They took out the womb. They found, and I'm sorry I didn't put in earlier that we need a content warning, but content warning. In the cavity of her abdomen was 4 to 6 ounces of pus and serum.
Oh, God, that poor woman.
I know. The lining of the abdominal membrane showed a high degree of inflammation. Her intestines were inflamed. The ovaries were both filled with pus.
Oh,
There was
Jesus Christ.
there was a large sac of pus in the pelvis. An opening ruptured in the uterus. And on the neck of, they say the neck of the uterus, but I think they mean the cervix.
The cervix, yeah.
There was like a dent, basically, that they figured out was probably from a surgical instrument.
Fuck.
Yeah. But also, importantly, they found that part of her placenta had been retained. I mean, this is a problem throughout history. You need to have the placenta completely come out or it can cause infection.
Yeah, it can become infected.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
So Bentley and Letterman were pretty sure that she had died because she had a retained placenta and because of the abortion and the damage to the uterus, both in terms of the surgical instruments, but also her uterus ruptured.
Yeah, I mean, all that infection tells a story, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Letterman, there's a bunch of Letterman stuff at the Presidio. Do you think it's that guy?
I think so, but I didn't look it up, so don't quote me on that. Yeah, their conclusion, quote, was the only way the injury could have been produced was by introducing an instrument into the neck of the womb. We think she was in a state of pregnancy of about 6 to 8 weeks.
Dude, that's so awful.
Yeah. Detectives with the police department arrested Charles O'Donnell on suspicion of performing the abortion. And on February 12th, the coroner led an inquest in front of a jury. So that's where a lot of this information testimony comes from.
Yeah, I was wondering if it was from a court case. Mm-hmm. It was reported on, right, from the case?
Yeah. So Dr. Ferris was one of the legitimate doctors that went to go visit her, and he testified that O'Donnell had been attending her often, which Addie said that he hadn't been. So it's very strange. O'Donnell claimed that Addie had inflammation of the bladder, then inflammation of the bowels, then typhoid fever, then inflammation of the stomach. And in addition to...
Keep on going till you hit the right one, brother. Yeah.
In addition to laudanum, he gave her ammonia and calomel, which again is like a mercury something. I can't remember exactly, but
I mean,
it's
they
not
did
good
use
for you.
mercury. It's not great, but they were using it for infection back then. Remember, like they treated syphilis and stuff with mercury.
Yeah, it's not mercury, but it is a compound that contains mercury. It's not a treatment for any disease.
Don't take that, you guys.
After the inquest, I couldn't find any more details on what happened with this particular case.
So no word on whether he was convicted or not?
He probably wasn't. He was a known, as we said, he's a known abortion doctor in San Francisco. He performed many. As far as I know, he was never convicted on any of them. And again, this goes back to this idea that it's very hard to get a conviction because you have like the doctor in court and nobody else who can corroborate one way or the other for the most part.
And he's filling a role, right? Like there are different roles for people in this system, right? There's the guy that performs the abortions, and then that allows the other doctors, like Dr. Ferris, to be above doing it. And, there are always going to be people who need abortions, right? Like sometimes it behooves the government and the people in charge to have kind of a fall guy or someone to absorb the vice and the whatever, because we know that it's needed.
Right.
That sounded totally incoherent, but you guys get what I'm saying, right? Like they needed those abortion doctors because somebody had to provide the fucking abortions and Dr. Farrell wasn't going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, in this case, for sure, there were plenty of people to testify against him. Again, there was an autopsy, a lot of like real science of the day here, but I think he probably was never convicted.
Yeah, you're probably right.
And it's interesting, like O'Donnell didn't remain an abortion doctor for his entire life, but I have a little background on him, and I think he's interesting in particular because he's the first of 2 generations abortion doctors in San Francisco. We'll talk about his son in a minute.
Family business.
Yeah. Charles O'Donnell was born in Baltimore, Maryland in 1835. He came to San Francisco in 1854, so right along with everybody else.
Yeah, total gold rush times.
He established a medical practice in the early 1860s. He had previously worked in the National Guard and was arrested many times on charges of murder related to abortions, but probably was never convicted for any of them, as we said. So, do you know what the Working Men Party in San Francisco was?
Oh, I sure do.
Do you want to tell us?
This is Victorian MAGA.
Yeah.
Am I wrong? These are the literal build the wall people. Keep America white. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Their slogan was "The Chinese must go."
Yes.
So Charles O'Donnell helped organize the Working Men Party in San Francisco.
Oh, we got the villain arc now.
Yeah.
Now we give him the villain edit, okay? We waited. We were like, people need abortions. There's not a lot of good science. Oh, this guy hates Chinese people.
Yeah.
Got it. He gets the villain edit now.
There's another twist because in 1885, he was elected the city coroner.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, those guys were popular. I mean,
But yeah, at the same time, he went hard into anti-Chinese sentiment. He lived in Chinatown. So
of course he did.
And he was a regular speaker at the Sandlot, which was near current City Hall. That was a place where people would hold labor rallies, but it was always like racist rants about people taking other people's jobs.
Yeah. It's so different. I can't imagine.
And I feel like his life story just folds all of our other episodes together.
It sure does. It brings them all together because we talked about them in the pest house, right? Mm-hmm. We talked about them with bubonic plague. This is we're hitting all the high points of Victorian San Francisco bad behavior. Yeah.
There are articles from the time saying that he petitioned the Board of Supervisors to wall off Chinatown to prevent the spread of smallpox. He wanted to move all of the Chinese people out of San Francisco.
They wanted to put them on an island or something. And just for, if people don't know, there was Chinatown was primo land at that. I mean, it still is, but it was very valuable land. So some of this was get them out of here. They're causing diseases, but also we want that land.
We want that land. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, and again, this is the same time period. People were get the cemetery out of San Francisco because they're full of diseases and we want the land. So.
Girl, AI could write our podcast. It's the same fucking shit every time. It's just a new, God, there's a lot of cuss words in this episode, you guys. I'm sorry.
Oh no, this is not really actually that bad compared to other ones that I've edited.
Carolyn's all, I beg to differ. I edit these things and it seems pretty normal. We'll have to ask ChatGPT to write the next episode for us and see how many fucks it throws in there. Yeah.
He was not just about smallpox. He was going to take a medical trip to the East Coast. He put 2 Chinese people with Hansen's disease, aka leprosy.
Leprosy, yeah.
Put them in a box. To take them to the East Coast to show the benefits of Chinese immigration.
Oh, God. Give him the villain edit. Go ahead. What the fuck?
Yeah. Things take a real turn in not 1890.
Have they not already taken a turn? Oh, sorry. Abortion-wise, you mean. Okay, got it.
He ran for mayor twice in 1890, 1892. He did not win. And in 1891, he built a summer home in Glen, which is near the city of Sonoma and Sonoma County. His summer home was called Cozy Castle. He built an extensive resort next to a mineral hot springs. And there's an ad from 1899 that says, "Come to Dr. C.C. O'Donnell's Sanitarium and Mineral Springs in Sonoma County." It has 20 completely furnished bedroom cottages, good boating, fishing and hunting, fine summer resort, free mineral water that would treat all diseases in California.
Yeah. So he's a quack also on top of that. Because there was a lot of that shit going on around that time too. These like, God damn it, if I have to say one more time, just like today, but like they were running these like wellness.
Yeah.
It was pure quackery. Like, and they were often like these wellness retreats and stuff were actually like killing people because they were trying to treat them with all this weird shit. Yeah.
I mean, and sort of like this is tangential, but I grew up in Sonoma County, and Sonoma and Napa have this range of geothermal mountains. People probably know about the famous hot springs in Calistoga. People still go there.
Yeah, I kind of want to go there. Yeah.
And then the mineral water. And like unless it's too hot, there's really no harm in getting in a hot spring and chilling out for a couple of hours. But it's not a cure-all.
It's not going to cure cancer, though, right? Is the thing.
Yeah.
And I think that was like a lever or like a marketing tactic to get people in. And they would offer additional things, right?
Yeah.
Like you could probably go to those places and get a side of Reiki healing. You know what I mean? Like the mineral water will make you feel better, but they can upsell you on rebalancing your chakras while you're at it. Not that any of that is going to harm you.
No. And at least you're hydrated.
True. It is relaxing. I did that once. I was told that my heart chakra was really a little bit out of control. So,
I mean, whose isn't? So that was an ad from 1899. In 1903, Charles O'Donnell discovered clay on his property that was suitable for making bricks and pottery. So then he started a business making bricks. And this is, I think, what he did for the rest of his life. He had a business. They were making 250,000 bricks per day in the early 1900s.
Sure those labor practices were real nice too.
He did still return to San Francisco often, and he died in San Francisco in May of 1912 when he was 77 years old.
77 years too many. Yeah.
Yeah. But wait, there's his son, George O'Donnell. And I will start looking at George here, again, through the lens of a woman who took him to court. This is a girl, actually. She's 15 years old. Her name is...
Jesus.
Get this name. Her name is Vesta Van Vlack.
Oh, I love that.
VVV for short.
That's kind of a cool name.
She and her boyfriend, James Gibson, came to San Francisco from Oregon in October of 1908. She had gotten pregnant, and James offered to marry her, but her parents refused. So they came to San Francisco to try to get married. They registered at the Winchester Hotel as Mr. and Mrs. Gilbert, and they telegraphed to Vesta's dad for permission to marry, but he still said no. She decided to go see George O'Donnell. He was operating at 1720 Geary Street. She had seen an advertisement in the paper, which seemed to offer them the only way out of the difficulty in which they found themselves, which was her pregnancy. She paid $50 for the procedure. She became very sick.
That was a lot of money back then. Yeah.
Yeah. And I did a little bit of research into what people were paying, and it seemed to be between like $50 and $100, which is a lot of money. After she became sick, she went to an emergency hospital. She went to the emergency hospital on October 22nd. The doctor there discovered that she had appendicitis, but had also developed septicemia. And she died of septicemia after her appendix removed. Now, probably all of this inflammation, again, was developed after she had an abortion procedure.
Yeah, like one thing contributed to the other.
Yeah.
What year was this, Beth?
1908.
Okay.
The coroner ordered an autopsy and found that she had died of septicemia following a criminal operation. Although George O'Donnell claimed that he only gave her a liquid medication of some kind and didn't do anything surgical.
Right.
Yeah.
What liquid medication would that be, sir? Castor oil? Yeah.
See our first episode for the many possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
After Vesta died, her boyfriend asked for some of the money back from George O'Donnell so that he could send Vesta's body back home and she could be buried in Oregon where her parents were. O'Donnell apparently said that he would see him dead first. And he was in no temper to give any money out of his own pocket to pay for the girl's burial.
And I bet you the boyfriend was kind of young too, huh?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple years older, but yeah.
A kid though, who doesn't know what to do, right?
Vesta's parents disowned her and then also refused to pay for her burial expenses.
Posthumously? What the fuck?
Yeah. A Golden Gate undertaking parlor agreed to bury her, run a funeral and bury her at no cost. But because this is 1908, I'm not sure where she was buried. I wasn't able to figure
somewhere,
this out.
Maybe. Yeah. There's probably a pauper's field in Colma somewhere.
I know of at least two, so.
Not to get us off track again, but also just the other thing is if you're running a criminal conspiracy and someone comes to you and says help me get rid of this evidence, maybe pony up $25 to have that body buried decently, and then you don't have as much evidence, witnesses, dipshit. Yeah.
George O'Donnell was arrested and underwent a criminal trial, but I couldn't find any reporting on it.
It's so crazy that you found all this trial stuff and then it's almost the verdict was beside the point, right?
Yeah.
They wanted to hear the salacious details.
And I mean, this is a little bit of trial in the media.
Yeah, for sure.
But, it didn't seem to really hurt the reputations of these doctors. If your name was in the paper, even for an abortion that turned fatal, I think people would still come to you because they didn't have a lot of options.
Yeah, no, publicity is bad publicity if you're a butcher abortion doctor in 20th century America.
So to back up a little bit, George O'Donnell was born in San Francisco in either 1867 or 1868 to Charles O'Donnell, and his mom's name was Fanny. He lived in San Francisco his whole life. And in all the census records that I could find, he was listed as a physician or a doctor. So he was at least telling the census that he was a legitimate doctor. But he was working as an abortionist for decades.
Wait, Beth, can I ask you, do you think either of them were actual doctors? Or, I'm sure the licensing regimen wasn't as strict back then. Were they kind of calling themselves doctors because they were doing illegal surgeries, so it didn't kind of matter? Or,
there were medical colleges in this era, and as we discussed last time,
we know because they were dissecting people. Yeah.
Yes, stolen from graveyards. But a lot of the doctors, not even just the abortion doctors, but other people practicing medicine did not necessarily have a degree from a medical college or have any official license. This was still a gray area where you could practice and claim as a doctor. The regulations weren't all there yet.
Okay.
George O'Donnell married a woman named Estella in 1908. And they had a daughter named Olive in 1903. In February 1908, the same year that Vesta Van Vleck died, another woman named Katie Van Arter testified against him that he had tried to perform a criminal operation upon her.
He's going after the Germans. Oh, no, the Dutch. Who are the Vans?
The Vans were Dutch. Yeah.
Dutch,
so Van Vleck and Van Arter. The newspapers of the time just started keeping a tally of the number of times that George O'Donnell was arrested for abortion or attempted abortion.
O'Donnell watch, yeah.
By 1921, it was 32 times that they had kept track of.
Shit.
So probably many more that he performed abortions. Things went fine. So there was no reason for the police to get involved. There was a report in the San Francisco Call in May of 1921 that said, for the 32nd time, Dr. George W. O'Donnell has beaten a felony charge. The latest case against him having been dismissed today by Police Judge Sylvester McT for a lack of evidence. He was accused of having committed an illegal operation on a woman from Humboldt County. So, I mean, there's this other thread in here that like women are coming from all over California to San Francisco, probably to some extent because the services were more available, but also it was a chance to avoid the scrutiny of your own community.
Yeah. In this small town up there, Humboldt's much smaller, probably less sophisticated operations for things like this. Yeah. But to think about how far that is, like I regularly drive up to Del Norte County, which is right past Humboldt County. Humboldt County is a minimum of a 6-hour drive in a modern SUV going 65 miles an hour on a paved highway.
Yes.
So far away.
There were trains. I think a lot of these girls and women were traveling by train. I do seem to remember one woman coming to San Francisco on a steamboat from Oregon. So along the coast. Yeah.
I know they traveled up and down the coast by a side wheel steamer. You guys can't see I'm making a wheel motion with my hand as if this is going to jog everybody's memory.
If only this was a video podcast. But yeah, I mean, people came long distances to come to San Francisco, and the journeys could not have been easy for anybody. But especially if you're like, I mean, imagine you're 8 weeks pregnant and morning sickness, and you're like,
and you're young,
feeling
and
terrible.
You're unaccompanied, and you're doing this thing that is like dangerous, right? All alone.
Yeah. Dr. O'Donnell, George O'Donnell again, was working with other doctors, sometimes to perform abortions. One of them was a doctor named Archie Hunt, who took his own life on April 17th of, I think this is also 1921. George O'Donnell was arrested on a charge of having assisted Hunt in performing an illegal operation on Louise Erler, who is a married woman from Yolo County. So again, quite a ways away.
Yeah.
Mrs. Erler was in the hospital, and then Dr. Hunt ended his life by gas asphyxiation. He had put a rubber tube in his mouth, and the other end of the tube was attached to, they say, a gas fixture. I don't know if that's the oven or
like a
something
car.
Else.
No, I guess not in 1921. Yeah.
At first, the police thought that Dr. Hunt had ended his life because of financial and marital troubles, but there was an investigation by 2 detectives. Now, this is cool. One was a man named Thomas Regan, but there was a detective, Catherine Eisenhart, so a police woman in the 1920s.
Okay, Catherine.
Yeah. So I love that she shows up here. They figured out that Dr. Hunt had ended his life because of his involvement in this illegal operation against Mrs. Erler.
Isn't it funny how they won't say abortion? They're saying illegal operation. Yeah. Also, can we talk about what her outfit must have been? The police detective. Woman. Like, it's probably like a long skirt, right?
Yeah, I'm guessing like a long skirt.
And, long skirt with like a little tie or something. Okay, go on.
I love that. But yeah, so Dr. Hunt was worried that if Miss Erler died, that he would be arrested for his involvement in an abortion. So he ended his life. Apparently, he didn't realize that O'Donnell had skipped out on charges like 32 times.
Yeah, do the research first. You're probably going to get off. Yeah. Just pick up the paper. Yeah. 33's again, the charm, Beth.
I mean, as we'll see, sometimes even the best abortion doctors' luck eventually runs out, but we're not quite there yet. George O'Donnell also got in trouble multiple times for opium possession.
Hell yeah.
In 1911, his offices were raided and they found 20 pounds of opium.
That's a lot of fucking opium. 20 pounds?
20 pounds.
That's trafficking charges there. Yeah. That's intent to distribute. Yeah.
So O'Donnell admitted that he had been using one of they said 2 complete layouts. So I'm assuming like 10 pounds and 10 pounds. O'Donnell said that he'd been using one of these for 15 years. It's not clear whether he meant he was using it or he was using it for patients.
Yeah, using it on the patients. That would also make sense, right?
Yeah. Somebody speculated that he could lose his license and that he might be prosecuted under state poison law. I don't think that actually ever happened because this is, again, 1911, and he was still practicing as an abortionist into the 1920s. But I love this detail. When the inspectors came upon a janitor named Bay Lewis, who said that he worked for Dr. O'Donnell, and Lewis was smoking opium when they came in.
Right on, Lewis. Lewis is like, I know what goes on around here.
They wrote, he was not in a condition to tell where he obtained the smoking set or the drug, but the inspectors believe it was part of what they found in the doctor's office.
Just like pushing the garbage bin with like a pipe sticking out of his mouth.
And so I love this idea that like George O'Donnell employed this janitor, Bay Lewis, and he was like, if you clean my office, I'll keep you in opium.
Yeah. And don't tell anyone what goes on here, right?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
By 1940, George O'Donnell was not listed having any occupations, so he may have retired by then. He died in March of 1945, and both he and his father, Charles, are buried in Mountain Cemetery in Sonoma. So if anybody wants to go yell at them, that's where they are.
Wait, where are they buried?
Mountain Cemetery in Sonoma.
Oh, Sonoma. Okay. Mm-hmm. I thought you said Alabama, and I was like, whoa. That's
not that far away.
Okay.
Now we're going to turn to your hero and mine, Inez Burns.
Oh, I love this lady.
Yeah.
This is like, they should make a movie about this bitch.
They absolutely should.
So interesting.
She is, and she really provides some contrast to how these other abortion doctors were operating. So
she's giving a compassionate care. She's still a criminal and involved in criminal rackets.
And it's like, yes, she was doing criminal rackets, but also because that's what the law was at the time, and she was trying to provide a service that was not legal. Yeah. She was born in September of 1886 in the South of Market neighborhood in a tenement. Her father was an alcoholic cigar salesman who died when he was 39.
Jesus.
Her mother was described as a cold and neglectful woman who got into fistfights and took Inez out of school in 6th grade so that Inez could work with her siblings. Inez got a job as a manicurist at the Palace Hotel in the barber shop. So rich men were coming to her and getting their nails done. One of her returning customers was a doctor named Eugene West. They began an affair, so Inez was 18. I'm not sure how old Eugene West was at the time, but he offered her a job at his clinic and paid her twice what she was making at the barbershop, so that was an easy decision. Dr. Thompson, the doctor who was convicted for the abortion that killed Eva Swan, sometimes worked in Eugene West's office.
Oh, okay.
And claimed to be him. So this was... West and Thompson had this abortion clinic, and Inez started working for Eugene West after they were involved for a while.
Okay.
Within a few months, Inez became a medical assistant and began helping with the abortion services that they provided. She was apparently a quick learner, and she learned that sometimes West was performing sloppy work.
Yeah, she seemed like a very capable at her job.
So as she's watching, she's like, I don't know if you're always taking care of your patients in the best way that you should be. She got pregnant by another man, a suitor named G.W. Merritt. She left her job at West's clinic, but before she left, she stole a set of medical instruments, which I just love.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to say she like did her own abortion or something. I was
like, no, but in 1906, she was living alongside 40,000 other earthquake refugees in Golden Gate Park. And, at any time in any city, women are going to be pregnant. She encountered 7 women in the refugee camp, all of whom needed help. So she successfully performed abortions on each of these women in Golden Gate Park and carefully sterilized her instruments before and after each procedure, which not a lot of these other doctors were doing.
Yeah. And as I recall about her, she never lost a patient.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is we're talking about the 1906, post-1906 earthquake.
Yeah.
People living in tents and shit.
Yeah.
And she's able to provide these services safely because she's smart, she's capable, and she also cares about the outcome.
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah.
The outcome being the patient survives.
Yes. Yeah. And you're right. As far as we know, she never lost a patient.
As far as we know, yeah. She certainly didn't have 33 fucking arrests tallied up by the newspapers for killing women.
She was not dealing opium. She was not selling quack trips to the hot springs. She was just
paying off the cops.
We'll get there.
Yeah, whomst among us in San Francisco back in the day.
After the earthquake and things settled down in the city, she did go to work in other clinics around the city, but they were all owned by men. She did this to earn enough money to open her own. She had 2 in the Excelsior. Unlike many other abortion centers at the time, she never advertised her services.
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth, yeah.
You had to know, yeah.
Yeah, people were like, she has this really clean clinic. Women feel safe here. And they didn't have to go to a guy that had been arrested a bunch of times.
Just imagine even the fact that you could get health care, because abortion is health care, from a woman back then. Like how much, how many of these, the records bear out that they didn't take great care with their patients and things like that. But I'm sure plenty of them were creepy too.
Yeah.
And there were modesty protocols back then. Imagine what a relief it was, even if you had to go through this situation, to have a woman helping you.
Yeah. Well, and to be fair, the book that we talked about last time that was about the history of abortion in America spends a lot of time talking about an abortion doctor in New York City who was a woman. But she was very much in the quack category. She was selling medicines and things. But also, I think because she was a woman, they really made an example out of her. And her name was in the papers for decades. So
yeah, that's the girl boss narrative arc. Yeah, they took her down, I'm sure. Mm-hmm.
Back to Inez Burns. She opened her most famous clinic on Fillmore Street in 1921. I love this
in the Lower Haight, right?
In the Lower Haight. I love this detail. She made it to look like a high-end tea room. So you come in the front, and it just there's lush furniture, there's tea. Women who came in were not allowed to smoke. They were discouraged from talking to each other. So I guess there wouldn't be like, oh, what are you here for? That kind of conversation.
Mm-hmm.
There was a outdoor incinerator on the property for whatever came out after an abortion. And she hired a former bellhop from the Palace Hotel to be her like muscle to scare off people.
Like bouncer. Yeah.
She was, as you said, also regularly paying off police and politicians to look the other way. In 1932, she married an assemblyman named Joe Burns. So that's where she got the Burns name. She treated almost 200,000 women.
That is astonishing.
Yeah. 20 to 40 abortions per day.
That is wild. With no deaths, you guys.
Yeah.
No reported deaths.
And she had a network of doctors that she trusted. So if there were any complications, she'd be like, please go see this doctor and they'll help you out.
Mm-hmm.
Her fees were roughly $50 for an abortion in the first 8 weeks, $80 after the first 8 weeks. But she also took in people for whatever they could pay. Often took nothing if she, and 20 to 40 abortions per day at $50 is a lot of money.
Yeah, she was making a fucking mint too. Like she made a lot of money doing this. Mm-hmm. And she was a good businesswoman up until a point, I think.
Yeah.
We'll get to it. But, she knew where she had to invest, like in the cops and the politicians.
And one of the things that happened, and specifically in 1944, so we have a former governor here, Jerry Brown. His dad, Edmund Pat Brown, was the San Francisco district attorney. He came in 1944 and he's like, I'm going to get rid of corruption in the police department. So unfortunately, that had consequences for Inez. Even as far back as 1936, officials had started investigating her.
Yeah.
In 1939, she was indicted for tax evasion. She pleaded guilty and was fined $10,000 plus a little bit more to settle. That was a lot of money, but she still had a lot of money.
I mean, they weren't able to get her on the abortions, right? It's like Al Capone, they got her on the taxes.
For a while they did, but by the end of 1945, a judge said that Inez and her staff would be tried for felony conspiracy to commit abortion and for practicing medicine without a license. So this is again in this period where this is in this period where the licensing becomes more prominent and more important in who can practice medicine and who can claim to be a doctor. They confiscated notebooks from her office with case histories, receipts for medical supplies. 2 of her former patients agreed to testify against her. 2 of her employees also testified against her in exchange for their charges being dropped. Even then, it took 3 trials to convict her.
Yes.
She finally was sent to prison, served 29 months, and was released in November of 1950. Then she was fined $10,000 for tax evasion in 1951, served 9 months in a prison camp, got out, and went back to performing abortions again.
Incorrigible.
And went back to jail. She served her final prison term and came out in 1956. She was completely broke at that point.
And getting older, right?
Yeah. She had a house on Guerrero Street with her husband. They stayed there until 1973. They moved to a nursing home in Moss Beach, where she died in 1976 at the age of 87. So she lived just to the point where she saw abortion legalized.
Oh, she did?
Yeah.
Oh, did you mention that she's called the abortion queen of San Francisco?
No.
I don't remember if we mentioned that. Yeah.
Again, those are some stories of people who are ostensibly helping women in San Francisco out of difficult situations, some of them better than others. But I thought I would wrap up by getting into some statistics. As we know, the U.S. Supreme Court in 2022 rolled back some abortion protections for women and allowed states to ban abortion or create further restrictions. So, and again, we're in a period where it's much safer in the US to have even an illegal abortion, but that doesn't mean it's completely safe. So here are some numbers for us. In states that do not have total bans in 2024, 1 million abortions were provided. So that was an increase of about 1%. So a little bit more than 2023 to 2024, and up 12% from 2020.
As I understand, that was because of the increase in telehealth during the pandemic and the relaxation of telehealth rules, where even in states where abortion was banned, they were still able to access telehealth from other states. Or in the states where abortion was not banned, more people were able to access abortion medication via telehealth.
Right. Yeah. In fact, all of this information comes from a group called the Guttmacher Institute. They're an NGO that aims to improve sexual health.
They do great work.
Yeah. That count, the 1 million abortions in 2024, does include medication abortions provided by telemedicine. And doctors were mailing pills to patients in states without total bans. The number does not include self-managed abortions or any abortions. Like people could order pharmaceuticals from outside the US.
Yeah.
So it doesn't include those. And there is evidence to suggest that those quote unquote self-managed abortions have increased since the Supreme Court ruling.
I'm sure they have.
Yeah. The abortion rate in 2024 was 15.4 per 1,000 women, 15 to 44. So that was, in 2024, it went down from 2023, but again, up from 2020. Screws up a lot of these numbers.
Because, I think so, yeah.
People could not really get services in the way that we can right now. In 2023, there were 765 clinics providing abortion services. That's down 5% from 2020. Clinics are declining as a result of the Supreme Court decision.
Yeah, we know that for sure.
Yeah. As of March 2024, there were no clinics providing abortion care in the 14 states with total bans. Those states in 2020 had 63 clinics. So those states went from 63 to 0.
To 0.
Yeah. But more clinics were opened in the other 36 states that don't have complete bans.
Yeah, and like border states, I think some of the border states have stepped up, like New Mexico and Illinois, to really get Colorado, states like that, to absorb population from around there that need care.
Utah, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm just guessing. I actually haven't looked at which states have total bans. I'm just riding on Utah's reputation.
That's a safe bet. I'm sure it's one of them. Yeah.
The number of patients who traveled out of state for abortion care increased from 9% in 2020 to 15% in 2024.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Among people obtaining abortions, more than 2/3 were in their 20s. 33% were 20 to 24. 28% were 25 to 29. Adolescents are about 10%. And I hate reporting this number, but under 2% of people obtaining an abortion were under 17.
Yeah. And, I have seen a statistic. I'll put it in the show notes that girls who are under 18 who get pregnant, the person who made them pregnant was over 18. So it's technically statutory rape.
Yeah.
And depending on the state and whatever, but like one of the reasons that fertility is declining, or they say fewer babies are being born, is because teenage pregnancy is way down, which used to be seen as a social good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But that's gonna, now that, half of these states you can't obtain an abortion, or in many cases birth control either, they're coming for that too. They're betting on the birth rate going up, including among teenagers.
Why would we want that?
Because we're making America great again, Beth.
A couple more statistics here from the Guttmacher Institute. About 55% of people obtaining abortions have already had at least one child.
Yeah.
So again, women don't want to have 20 babies.
And they want to take care of the ones they have.
Yeah, exactly. Right? And then 41% of people obtaining abortions are below the federal poverty level. So, yeah, women don't have enough money. They don't have the money to support more children.
And talk about if you truly stood on the values of wanting to be pro-life and have more babies, you would be funding housing, childcare, and food benefits for women who are under the poverty line, who are pregnant and may want to have those babies but can't afford it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, imagine having to make that choice. I can't, right? It's hard enough to, decide to terminate a pregnancy maybe when you don't want to be pregnant. But what happens if you do, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that was the woman who started our episode. She was in a poverty situation. She might have wanted that baby, but they just didn't have the money.
Right. Or the teenagers, if they had been allowed to get married and have some support, maybe they could have had that baby, right? And then there would be 2 living people there instead of 2 dead.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it'd be interesting to look at, I tried to find statistics on how many women are dying from abortions now that it's not legal everywhere. But they're not really parceled out from overall deaths during pregnancy and childbirth.
I think that's the hard part with the statistics now, is that I'm sure that states are conflating the statistics. Because of lack of access to abortion care, people are getting sick and dying because they can't terminate fatal pregnancies, right?
Yeah.
So there's the deaths from abortion, and then there's the deaths from being unable to access abortion, right?
Yeah. The U.S. already has terrible outcomes for women in childbirth.
Terrible.
More women die in childbirth than, I was going to say than necessary, but ideally none are necessary. But, and we know for a fact that women of color are more likely to die from
especially Black
of
women.
Childbirth.
Yeah, exactly.
But so these numbers come from the Gender Equity Policy Institute. And again, these are overall maternal mortality rates. But they looked at in states where abortion is not legal. There were 18.2 deaths per 100,000 for white women. Again, 18.2 deaths per 100,000 for Latinas. 60.9, that's 60.9 per 100,000 for Black women.
Jesus
So
Christ.
3 times as many. California, where abortion remains legal, we have the lowest maternal mortality rate of about 9.5 maternal deaths per 100,000 live births in 2023, which is about half the U.S. average. So, legal abortion saves lives, which is what we've been talking about all along.
100%. And it saves lives, like I just said, it saves lives across the spectrum of pregnancy, right? This is not even getting into the fact that like the number 2 cause of death for pregnant women is domestic violence in the United States, right? Like being pregnant is a risk factor for death by domestic violence, right? I'll put the statistics in the show notes again. Maybe I got that mixed up off the top of my head, but I know it's bad.
It is
and
bad.
Then the whole pregnancy itself is dangerous. And Beth really and I have both been through pregnancies that delivered babies, and my water broke at 5 weeks early, and they were like, we don't know. Why? I mean, thank God everybody's safe and everything, but shit happens in pregnancy. And if you can't get the care, some of the ways that they are trying to keep people from accessing, there's supposed to be these exceptions for the health and life of the mother in these states that in reality don't work, because it's not that simple, right? And you don't have time to go to a court and get a court order or a court ruling or, a judgment on whether this meets the standard when a woman is dying in labor. These things happen so quickly, and the doctors need to act so quick. This administration, these state agencies are throwing roadblocks in the way under the guise of protecting women, right? Which takes us all the way back to 1860.
Right. And, I mentioned last time, too, that I had a home birth. And one of the reasons for that.
That shit is brave, Beth. It could not be me. I was like, put the line in. Yeah.
Going back to this change that happened where the birthing process itself became medicalized, and everyone's like, you have to give birth in a hospital. It's not safe to give birth at home. But infant mortality rates are still high because doctors are known for pushing procedures out of their own convenience. They're like, well, you should probably get a C-section, even though you probably don't need one. And that's a major abdominal surgery that you have to recover from.
Yeah. They say that when midwives are involved, the mortality rates go down.
Yeah. Yeah. So in essence, this has been one giant rant against the white coat doctors.
I love my white coat doctor. Don't get me wrong.
I do too.
But I tell you what, there's a reason why I have a female doctor, right? I can't even, my mom, some of the stuff she told me about giving birth in the 70s, where, Catholic hospitals would not give you an epidural because you were supposed to suffer the fate of Eve in biblical times.
No twilight sedation or anything.
Natural childbirth, quote unquote, whether you wanted it or not back then, if you were at a Catholic hospital. And she also told me that with one of her deliveries, the doctor said to her, she was fully dilating, having contractions. And he was like, what are you making such a big deal out of? That doesn't hurt.
Oh my God.
Yeah. How would you know, fucker? Right?
Yeah.
And healthcare is a mess in this country. People have higher risk pregnancies because of untreated conditions, because they don't have healthcare. Doctors are under stress to get more patients through there because the insurance won't pay for more than 2 nights of care in the hospital. It's a whole mess.
I don't know how to fix healthcare, but it seems like there is an argument that if you have a healthy pregnancy and few signs of complications, you might as well go ahead and give birth at home if you can. Just stay out of the hospital.
Oh, I disagree. I wanted that epidural. I was like, get me in there. I'm not doing that shit. That's a mess. I'm not cleaning that up. I'm not. I want somebody to bring me a grilled cheese while I'm in the middle of this. Yes. Give me the epidural. I think what you're saying is you should have choice.
Definitely have choice.
Yeah.
So for now, that includes our look at abortion history in San Francisco. Quite a journey.
Yeah. And it's this is a podcast about death, right?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's part of the story. So I think it's good that we're remembering that as we're living through the moment now where women are being subjected to some of the same conditions that they were literally a century and a half ago.
Yeah. But thankfully, no more weird concoctions that could just kill you.
No, you just got to put beef tallow on your face to keep yourself looking younger. Well, Beth, thank you so much for this episode. It was so interesting. I learned a lot.
Thank you for coming along on the journey that drove me really crazy for about a month and a half of research. So hopefully everyone learned something.
Bye.
Dead Reckoning, the podcast where death isn't the end of the story. Hosted by Courtney Minnick and Beth Weingardner, produced by Carolyn Kissick and Here Lies a Story, with art design by Dante Silliman. Our music is Act Calm by OTE. Please rate, review, and subscribe to Dead Reckoning on your favorite podcast platform, or email us at show@deadreckoningpodcast.com. You can follow Courtney at Here Lies a Story on Instagram and at Courtney Minnick on Blue Sky, and see more of her work at herelisastory.com. You can follow Beth at Beth Weingardner on Instagram, Blue Sky, and Mastodon, and see more of her work at bethweingardner.com.